Alright guys, welcome back to the Hold My Helmet Football Podcast. I'm your host, Will Reichling. Week 1 of the 2025 NFL season in the books. Some crazy endings to some crazy matchups. Sunday Night Football, Josh Allen coming back from 40-25 to beat the Ravens 41-40. Last night, filming this Tuesday, J.J. McCarthy coming down from 17-6. Looking like he doesn't belong in the league at all as a starting quarterback, let alone an NFL quarterback. Coming back, last 3 drives, some of the best football I've seen all weekend, those last 3 drives from him. He's a gamer, coming back, beating Caleb Williams, who looked great in the first half, first couple of plays, first quarter, first 2 quarters, then fell off a cliff in the second half. So we're going to get into all of this right now. We're going to react to last week's games, and we're going to predict the best games going to next week. So like, subscribe, share, and let's do it right now. I want to start with the Lions-Packers. Green Bay Packers traded for Micah Parsons. In return, they gave Dallas Kenny Clark and 2 first-round picks. Micah Parsons played about 40 to 45% of the snaps in that game, and you already saw an impact. He had a sack. He created a lot of attention on the pass rush plays on second, third down, and drew a lot of attention, and it benefited the Packers defense for sure. That Packers defense looks much improved from last year, and they looked improved from last year to the year before. This guy Hafley, this defensive coordinator, looking really good for this Packers defense. But the Packers offense, they came out guns blazing in this game. Jordan Love was perfect. Slicing and dicing, Romeo Doubs, Jaden Reed, Tucker Kraft, Josh Jacobs on the ground game had it going. This Green Bay offense came out in this first game and looked perfect. They looked perfect. They looked like one of the best teams in the league. And they definitely should be excited for a Super Bowl run. I think if there was a power rankings today, they would be in the top 3. I mean, they have all the juice right now, all the momentum. Their roster is finally there, finally taking big swings in the front office. Green Bay should be very excited and pouncing on the Detroit Lions, who beat you twice last year, pouncing on them right out the gate, controlled the entire game, beginning to end. 27-13, I think the final score was. So if you're a Packers fan, you are ecstatic about that win. Not only because of that specific win, their divisional opponent, Lions were the best team in the division last season. You already beat them, already have the tiebreaker over them. You got to play one more time, but great start for them. Not only that win, but just what you have, the pieces you have moving forward. Jordan Love, if he plays like that, at least 10 to 12 games this season, he might be in the MVP conversation. Matt LaFleur, one of the best offensive head coaches in the entire league. Then you got Jaden Reed, who popped today. Romeo Doubs, who popped today. Tucker Kraft, top 7-ish tight end, really good. Josh Jacobs, top 5 running back. I mean, that offense alone, when they're all clicking, and Matthew Golden, their first-round pick, didn't even really get going in that game. So with all that talent, Christian Watson coming back eventually, with all that talent in the offense, you are really excited about the future of this team. Then let's go to the defensive side. Hafley, the defensive coordinator, really improved last year on defense. Looks even better this year. You got Micah Parsons on one side and Rashawn Gary on the other side. So that right there might be one of the best 1-2 punches in the league as far as defensive line. So they're going to be creating pressure. Yes, you lost Jair Alexander in the back end. You still have McKinney, one of the best safeties in the league. So that front 4 creating pressure is going to relieve a lot of pressure off the back end. So Green Bay has to love their chances and love their odds at fighting for a Super Bowl this season in the NFC. And onto the Detroit Lions. You know, they started off really slow, then they started to move the ball a little bit, but then a huge interception by Jared Goff at the end of the half. That kind of killed the momentum. And look, I'm going to keep saying this. I said this last season when they lost them. I said this all offseason. I'm going to say it again. Losing both your coordinators matters a lot. It means everything, okay? Because the defensive coordinator, what is his name? Kelvin Shepard. Kelvin Shepard has only been a linebackers coach in the NFL for the Lions. He was the director of player development at LSU in 2020, but has only been a linebackers coach. You promote him to defensive coordinator. They could not stop the Packers at all. The Packers were running the ball effectively, throwing the ball effectively. Honestly, the Lions defense looked very confused in this game. So defensively, already a downgrade at DC, it looks like. I mean, maybe usually defenses start off slow the first couple of weeks and then they pick it up. Maybe they need to build some chemistry. Fine, whatever. I can let that go. But the offense, they could not score. They scored a garbage time touchdown to make it 13 points. But for the majority of the game, they only had 6 points. Last year, they only scored less than 20 once. They scored 16 points in week 2 against Tampa. It was a hard-fought game, but last year they only scored less than 20 once. Very first game of the season, pretty much had single digits the entire game until a garbage time touchdown. So immediately week 1, they score less than all of last season, and like I said, the only reason they weren't in single digits is because of touchdown and garbage time, so I don't really count that. And what you saw the most from this offense, this Lions offense, is it lacked creativity, the necessary creativity that it had in years past with Ben Johnson. People want to act like Ben Johnson wasn't one of the most important, if not the most important piece on this offense. Look at the creativity the last couple of years. The hook and ladders to Amon-Ra St. Brown, flipping it back to Gibbs, the linemen going out for passes, Jared Goff catching passes down the sideline. The creativity in this offense, the talent and the creativity on this offense is what made this offense one of the best in the league for years and years and years. And so that's the coordinators right there. Already downgrade. You bring in John Morton, who was the OC for the Jets in 2017. I actually thought he did a pretty decent job that year, but gets fired, didn't get an OC job again, was kind of a part of the Lions process, I think a couple of years ago, building that offense. He was the passing game coordinator, and getting an OC job after not having one for years, already have a red flag on that. Older OC, usually you want one of these younger guys, the McVay guy, Shanahan, Kevin O'Connell guy, from that tree. This guy's not from that tree. Apparently Andy Reid likes him. A lot of guys around the league really liked him a lot. Then why wasn't he their OC? You know what I mean? So it's kind of a little weird. So they hire someone from within who's not really necessarily the best candidate on the market. So you hire both coordinators from within your system that's already there, and I think Morton was actually in Denver last year. I gotta double check that. But you hire two people that have been in the system within the last 5 years, and on the DC side, you had Lou Anarumo sitting out there, went to the Colts, and yeah, people like to shit on him for the Bengals defense last year, but look at the players that he was working with. Not much. So you had Lou Anarumo, you don't sign him. You have Steve Wilkes, who got a lot of hate last year in the Niners, but he's a very formidable defensive coordinator. So you let Lou Anarumo walk, you let Steve Wilkes walk, and you hire someone from within, Kelvin Shepard, who's only been a linebackers coach. So you're kind of doing this to yourself now. So that's the coordinator aspect for the Lions. The player aspect, you lose your starting center, Ragnow, retired. You lose your starting right guard, Zeitler. And what did they struggle to do today? They struggled to run the ball up the middle. So that was very expected in this game. And Jared Goff facing some pressure, and we all know he can't move. We all know he needs a top 5 line in the league to even be remotely successful. So when you start feeling pressure up the middle, he struggles to roll out. He's got small hands. He's going to start fumbling. And that's just the way it goes. The Lions, I'm not saying freak out yet. If you're a Lions fan, I would not freak out right now. But regression was expected from losing the pieces you lost. You didn't lose too many pieces, but you lost key pieces. Bright side, defensively, they did look a little fooled there. But I do trust their back end with Brian Branch, DJ Reed, who they signed from the Jets, really good corner, and Terrion Arnold. So I think that back end, and Aiden Hutchinson's only going to get healthier. So I do think this defense will be good as time goes on. The offense I'm a little concerned about because that was not creative at all. Not what the offense has been about the last couple of years. And if you're a Lions fan, that part of the game I would be a little bit concerned about. But you're going to make the playoffs. I don't see a complete collapse, but you might not win the division. So let's move on. That was a crazy game for sure. A little bit to be expected, though. Momentum kind of going the Packers' way the offseason, and Lions losing a lot of pieces in the offseason. So week 1, you kind of saw that coming. What you didn't see coming is the Ravens scoring 40 points and still losing to the Bills. Being up 40-25 and still losing to the Bills. Honestly, Derrick Henry, again, week 2 last season, destroyed the Bills' defense. Again, on Sunday night, destroying the Bills' defense. So it reminded me a lot of week 2 of last season. And Lamar Jackson, for 95% of that game, was in complete control. Even DeAndre Hopkins got involved with a one-handed catch. It looked like everything was going the Ravens' way. Then the fumble happens, and that changes everything. And it happens, okay? Derrick Henry had one of the best nights, the best night for a running back in the league so far in week 1 this season. It's going to happen. It kind of sucks that it happened at the time it did. Unfortunate, but it happens. And, it's just unfortunate because the Ravens always feel like they're right there and then they do it to themselves. The Ravens' biggest opponent is the Ravens. The Ravens seem to shoot themselves in the foot when it matters most, and then the momentum kind of shifts. The AFC Championship game against the Chiefs, Last year, the divisional round against the Bills, Mark Andrews dropping that pass, the game-tying pass potentially. And that's kind of been the Ravens' MO. I don't know if it's a John Harbaugh thing. I don't know if it's a Lamar Jackson thing, but I thought Lamar Jackson played great in this game. So for people to leave the game saying, see, this is why Josh Allen's better than Lamar Jackson, how could you criticize Lamar Jackson when he put up 40 points and he loses? When Joe Burrow did that last season, we all praised him, saying he should win an MVP. I think we hold Lamar to this kind of pedestal because of his poor playoff performances, and they have been poor. But I think he's going to get over the hump one day. Same with Josh Allen. These both are generational quarterbacks, and let's just enjoy the fact that they went at it toe-to-toe in probably one of the best games in NFL history when we look back at it. This might be the game of the year, and when we look back on it 5-10 years from now, we're going to look at this game and be like, that was an all-timer right there. That was a classic. But on the defensive side for the Ravens, you got to be worried. Jair Alexander, your big pickup in the offseason, looks washed. I mean, he looks washed, and he was making mistakes, looks slow, blowing coverage, missing tackles. Not good. Not good at all. Same with the Bills. I would be worried about your defense too. But what keeps you sleeping well at night is the fact that Josh Allen, when you need him the most, will always come through. And he has great chemistry with the offense. You know, Khalil Shakir is his go-to guy when shit hits the fan, and he always comes through. Kincaid is really starting to develop into a great receiving tight end, even though he was really good last year. He just keeps developing more and more. James Cook, one of the most versatile backs in the league. So, do they rely on Josh Allen to kind of carry them in times? Yes, but you also have games where James Cook carries. You have games where Shakir, I remember a couple years ago in the playoffs against the Steelers, literally backpedaled, dragging the defenders into the end zone for a touchdown. So they have weapons on this offense. It's the defense for both of these teams I'm worried about. I'm worried about the defenses for both of these teams, but specifically the secondaries of both of these teams. You know, the Bills, they get back Trey White. He's hurt. Ravens bringing Jair Alexander. He looks washed. It's definitely worrisome for both these teams, but the Chiefs playing how the Chiefs have been playing lately in week one, not really lately, in week one, I guess you're still okay, but definitely something to be concerned about. And yes, usually both teams last season picked it up as the season went along defensively. Hopefully that happens again for both teams, but an offensive showdown for sure. I mean, that was fun to watch, but I don't really have a negative take about either team right now. I just think that was a classic. That was a showdown. Both of these teams are going to be fighting for the 1, 2, 3 seed in the AFC come playoff time. It's going to matter what these teams do in the playoffs. But, you know, people that want to hate on Lamar Jackson for choking at the end of the game, that was not on Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson played a fine game. Derrick Henry fumbling the ball shifted the momentum. And that's unfortunate, but it happens in the NFL. And that's why this game's kind of beautiful, because we all thought that game was over at 40-25. Then Josh Allen comes out of nowhere and becomes a hero again. So Buffalo winning week one. I did pick the Ravens there. It was a little tough for me. But, you know, great job, Buffalo. If you're Baltimore, don't panic yet. I mean, I think pretty sure they're going to Cleveland next week, or playing Cleveland, whether it's home or the road. And we'll see where it goes from here. But great showing from Josh Allen. Great showing from Lamar Jackson. Derrick Henry cannot be stopped. When Lamar and Derrick Henry are playing like that, how do you stop that? I mean, the read option, is Lamar going to take it, or is Derrick Henry going to take it? You don't know. So it's like, and Lamar becoming such an improved passer. He's an elite passer now at this point. We could say that for sure. Becoming an elite passer, one of the best running quarterbacks, the best running quarterback of all time, in my opinion. How do you stop that? Now you have Derrick Henry too. So very scary offense for sure. Both teams just need to shore up defensively, and they'll be just fine. But we'll see where it goes. But great game. I mean, that's a classic. That's going to go down as one of the best games of all time for sure. I mean, that was great. Josh Allen coming back down 15. J.J. McCarthy coming back down 11. Down 17-6. And we'll get into the Vikings first in this game. So Vikings beating the Bears 27-24. And you could tell early on in that game, the Vikings had the training wheels on J.J. McCarthy. He's essentially a rookie. He missed all of last season. With the way the game is going in that first half, first three quarters, I'm thinking, God, they'll be lucky if this guy throws 20 touchdown passes. Sam Darnold threw 35 touchdown passes. And why would you let Darnold walk? And I know Darnold played like shit down the stretch, got embarrassed by the Lions, got embarrassed in the playoffs by the Rams. But how do you let the guy walk that threw 35 touchdown passes and won 14 games for you, for this guy who looks like he doesn't belong? And, you know, and then it's 3rd and 18 in the third quarter, down 11 points, and they run a draw play. So at that point, I'm like thinking, okay, they don't trust this guy at all. They are not comfortable with this guy at quarterback. Then the fourth quarter happened, and J.J. McCarthy Maybe you've been hearing stuff that he's a gamer. He's kind of, you can't really quantify J.J. McCarthy. He's just a winner and gets it done. Some kind of switch flipped in that fourth quarter for J.J. McCarthy because he turned it on. You saw the movement. You saw the feet. You saw the arm angles. You saw the strong arm in the pocket. You saw the determination. You saw J.J. McCarthy take this team out from the abyss, down 17-6. Your fans losing hope in you, your head coach losing hope in you, your owner losing hope in you, the GM, everything going, what did we do, letting Darnold go, and coming out there 3 straight drives, touchdown, and looking great doing it. So J.J. McCarthy, you have to be the player of the week at that point. I mean, what a turnaround in a single game for our first game for a quarterback I've ever seen. What a turnaround. I don't even know what to say, where to go. If you're a Vikings fan, you got to be happy with that. You have to be happy with that for sure. I still don't know for sure if this is going to work, but I know he could do it now. I know he's capable of doing it now. I always said with J.J. McCarthy that I haven't seen enough tape on it. In Michigan, there was times, like that game against Penn State, he even threw the ball in the second half. There just wasn't enough on film for me to confidently say that J.J. McCarthy was going to be a franchise quarterback in the NFL. Now I have some tape. There's not much tape, but now I have some tape seeing him do it at the NFL level in crucial moments. And third down, end of game, trailing. The team knows the defense knows you're going to throw. The defense knows it's coming. What are you going to do? And delivered. That's all you could ask for out of your quarterback. In crucial moments where everyone knows what you're doing, can you still go out there and execute when everyone knows it's coming? And he did. So that's impressive. Great effort and great showing from J.J. McCarthy. He's the player of the week in my eyes. I don't care what anyone else did. Derrick Henry went off. Lamar went off. Josh Allen went off. J.J. McCarthy is the player of the week for me. And like I said, what do you do on third down? What do you do at the end of the game when teams know you have to throw? Caleb Williams. Yes, the first drive came out beautiful, ran for the touchdown, started off 10 for 10. The Bears offense looked rejuvenated. It's usually part of your pregame. The first 10 to 15 plays of an offense in the NFL is usually scripted. So he did play the script really well. He sat in the pocket, made the time throws that we questioned if he could do last season. He did all that. And then as the game went on, you're seeing him, okay, 3 and out. All right, he's holding on to the ball. He's playing it safe. He's not turning the ball over. 3 and out. Okay, they got to get something going here. Second half, 3 and out. Okay, they have to score next drive. 3 and out. Okay, what the fuck's going on? Next thing you know, J.J. McCarthy's coming back, and Caleb Williams is still sputtering. After the 10 to 15 scripted plays were over, and he had to go out there and ball, he fell off a cliff. Completely fell off a cliff. Tale of two halves. First half, 81% completion percentage, 96 passer rating. Second half, 42% completion percentage, 76 passer rating. So a tale of two halves. And like I said, with J.J. McCarthy, when the other team knew he had to throw, you're trailing, your team desperately needs you, he delivered. Caleb Williams, your team needs you to make a play. The Vikings defense knows you're going to throw, and he couldn't deliver. He just could not deliver. So everything fell apart for the Chicago Bears in that game. If I'm a Bears fan, I'm really concerned. Because if we look back on it now, the draft analysis of Caleb Williams, the prospect coming out of the draft, he had the wow arm, the mobility, the arm strength, the angles, the accuracy, the movement, just everything wow. The Mahomes, the Allen Lamar look. He had all that. Stafford, all that. The talent was there. The big question mark, the one con of Caleb Williams coming out into the draft as a prospect was making time throws from the pocket. For all NFL fans and analysts, GMs, whatever, that should have been a huge red flag right there. Gigantic red flag. The very basic thing of being an NFL quarterback is to make time throws from the pocket. That's what Mac Jones can do. That's what quarterbacks like Brock Purdy, Geno Smith, that's what they do well. They complete the easy stuff, and then 1-2 plays a game, Brock Purdy, Geno Smith, whatever, they can make the hard throws sometimes, but the elite quarterbacks like Mahomes, Allen, Lamar, like 4 or 5 times a game they'll make an elite throw. The rest of the game, they're making the easy stuff. They're making the layups, and that's what Mahomes mastered over his career. And that's what Caleb Williams, coming into the draft out of college, struggled at. And we all got wowed by the arm talent and all that, but we should have seen that as a red flag right there. And it is a red flag because Ben Johnson kind of is like a Kyle Shanahan where he likes you, the quarterback, to make quick decisions from the pocket. Don't move around too much. The guy's going to be open, make the throw, 3 seconds, less than 3 seconds, boom, boom, boom. Kind of like Bo Nix was doing in Denver. That's what he wants. And the quarterback you have with Caleb is not that. It's more of a Russell Wilson, a guy who hesitates too much in the pocket and then rolls out. And now Russell Wilson being too washed, just kind of shot. Caleb Williams holds onto the ball way too long. Way too long. I saw one where he took a terrible sack where he just held on, did not move, did not flinch, nothing, just stood there waiting for his receivers to run open down the field, and he got sacked. I'm concerned. Because if you can't make the layups, if you can't, missing DJ Moore on a 4th down, wide open over the middle, missing DJ Moore on a sideline throw that could have been a touchdown, wide open, just missing easy throws left and right. A little bit Zach Wilson-like. I mean, not like to the level of Zach Wilson, because Caleb's shown a lot of great flashes, but a little Zach Wilson-like there, where he can't hit the layups, and that should have been a red flag coming out of the draft. And I think that's all of our fault for not, just getting too caught up in the wow. So I'm concerned. And Ben Johnson, he's got to be frustrated, because remember, they re-signed, they extended Tyson Bagent for a reason. You don't do that when you're having all the turmoil with the quarterback you're having right now. Usually you want to build his confidence. They re-signed their backup. That does not boost your confidence of your starting quarterback who's supposed to be your franchise. So they did it for a reason, as a contingency plan. So if you're a Bears fan, it's not time to panic just yet, but you're winning that whole game. All you need to do, if you're Caleb Williams, is make one more play, one more score. Maybe you put the game out of reach, 24-6. He couldn't do it. And then he finally scored when they were trailing again, and it really didn't matter at that point. I mean, it mattered, but it was almost too little too late. Kind of a lot of what he did last season. So, Caleb Williams, Chicago Bears fans, time to start being concerned, because usually for a rookie quarterback, you give him till Thanksgiving of their second season. Fuck that. If he's not good by Halloween, this is a bust. I mean, he's going to play the entire season, but if he doesn't turn it around by Halloween, this might be one of the biggest quarterback busts I've ever seen in my entire life. So Thursday Night Football started off with the Cowboys and the Eagles, and I was saying how the Cowboys were going to get blown out by the Eagles. And very first play, didn't even get to run a play from scrimmage, Jalen Carter spits on Dak Prescott. Now, you see Dak kind of spit in Jalen Carter's direction before that, give him a little nod, and that's what you do in the NFL. You agitate. You try to piss the other team off. And that's kind of what it is. It's a mind game, and he got under Jalen Carter's skin. It worked, and hey, look, Dak tends to get under a lot of people's skin. Ask Cowboy fans. He gets under their skin all the time. So Dak got under his skin, and look, Dak had a great, honestly, a mostly really solid game, but he had a great first half, outstanding first half. And that's what Dak Prescott looks like when he's at his best. And if Dak could just play like that, over half, 3/4 of the season, Dallas is going to be fighting for a playoff spot for sure. With Pickens and CeeDee Lamb, they will be fighting for a playoff spot. And they were able to run the ball. Javonte Williams running the ball hard. I mean, he only had 3.5 yards per carry, but he looked like he had some juice when he was running, and he was moving the sticks. Miles Sanders, huge run in the third quarter. I was thinking for a second, is Miles Sanders back? Then a huge fumble. That kind of killed them. But what I was impressed with the most with Dallas was Brian Schottenheimer. What a great job for his first ever game as NFL head coach. Great clock management at the end of the first half. Played it perfectly, got the field goal, ran the clock out. Perfect. Beautiful. The players looked like they were buying in. They looked like they believed in his game plan and his philosophy. They were buying in. And he was also calling the plays on this offense. So he's the head coach and the play caller for the offense. I respect that a lot. I love offensive head coaches that call their own plays. And the offense was rolling. If CD didn't drop the ball 2 or 3 times, which happens, it's okay. I'm not going to knock CD too much for it. Dallas might win that game. So Brian Schottenheimer, great effort in this first game as head coach. Jalen Hurts was also great. But a lot of it was drop back, look around a little bit, take off and run. He kind of had a lot of trigger finger to run. It worked. He was great in this game. It worked out well. But A.J. Brown, I kind of was watching him as the game was going on. It's just this unknown thing. Is A.J. Brown pissed? He hasn't gotten a target yet. Finally gets a target, I'm pretty sure, on the very last drive. And that's something to watch out for as the season goes on. Because A.J. Brown really, he said it in the offseason with the Super Bowl. He said pretty much it was short-lived, doesn't satisfy me. What satisfies me is destroying defensive players. And basically, he wants numbers, man. A.J. Brown wants numbers. He got the Super Bowl. He's going to be expecting numbers. So Jalen Hurts was doing a lot of dropping back and running right away. You didn't see a lot of great pocket passing from Jalen Hurts, but look, he was great. He's Super Bowl MVP, top 10 quarterback. They won the game. They're poised for another Super Bowl run, but watch out if A.J. Brown is not happy, because that could make things crumble. And they lost their offensive coordinator. Remember what happened last time that happened when they lost Shane Steichen. So, got to be careful here if you're the Eagles. And defensively, cornerback-wise, you're kind of worried about your third corner. You have Quinyon Mitchell. You have Cooper DeJean. That third corner, they were kind of getting burnt by Dallas. So, a little worrisome. But you have Jalen Carter. Maybe a lot of that creating pressure on the line of scrimmage. That doesn't happen in the back end. But Eagles still poised for a Super Bowl. Dallas, they could play like that. They could be fighting for a playoff spot as the season ends. So maybe I was a little bit wrong about Dallas. Maybe I have to reevaluate. So the Kansas City Chiefs. That's a team I'm really worried about. They looked awful. Mahomes actually looked great, though. I thought Mahomes played really well, but overall the Chiefs looked awful. Defensively, specifically. They could not stop Justin Herbert. They could not stop the passing game. And Greg Roman and Jim Harbaugh, a group that likes to run the ball, offensive linemen, control the line of scrimmage, pound, ground and pound, was throwing all over Steve Spagnuolo in that Chiefs defense. And maybe Jim Harbaugh has turned the leaf here with having Justin Herbert. Herbert wants to unleash him a little more. They looked excellent, though. Everyone just running wide open. Conklin was wide open. Quentin Johnson was running wide open. Even Keenan Allen was wide open on a few plays. And Justin Herbert, that might have been one of the best games he's ever played. He literally juked out of safety. I mean, when he's going, you got the arm. He can move. Huge. And getting Keenan Allen back is actually a bigger deal for Justin Herbert than people are making it out, like people realize. Because Keenan Allen was Justin Herbert's safety blanket, number one receiver in years past. Now he has McConkey, who's also a safety blanket. So now you have Keenan Allen, McConkey. And that's just really exciting if you're a Chargers fan. For a team that also had the best defense in the league last season, now that look like your offense is rolling, oh my God, you have a chance to win this division. Because the Chiefs right now, Xavier Worthy leaving on the first drive. Rashee Rice is out for 6 games. Mahomes, really, for all that going wrong for him, really went out there and played a really, really, really effective game, I thought. I thought Mahomes played great. People are kind of roasting Mahomes right now in the Chiefs because they look like they're taking a step back. But I thought Mahomes was great. He just needs more help. And I think this is a big spot and a big situation to call for, what about Tyreek Hill coming back? I really think the Chiefs need a deep ball threat, a speedster, running down, especially with Worthy hurt now, a player that's going to run down the field and 60-yard touchdown, take a slant to the house, end around screens. You need a playmaker on offense. That's exactly what Tyreek Hill is. And Tyreek Hill knows the offense. He has chemistry with Mahomes. He knows Andy Reid. This is a beautiful fit. And if you could have Miami eat some of that, I think is this the last year of the contract? Maybe there's one more year. But if you could work some kind of financial deal out with Miami, yes, bring back Tyreek Hill, man. I think the Chiefs with Tyreek Hill, that would change the outlook on the season for them. Because right now, you're going to be sputtering for a little bit. They've had this in years past, and I always doubt them to come through. But this really feels like something's off now. Something is off for sure. And if I'm the Chiefs, you got to consider all options here because you don't have a good. This was never going to be sustainable. You won all of those one-score games last year. Your offense looked like shit in most of those games. This offense was never going to be sustainable. So we knew that coming in, especially now with Worthy hurt. So you're missing Worthy, missing Rashee Rice. So you're out there with Hollywood Brown, who's a good player, but Juju Smith-Schuster is your 2. That's pretty rough if I'm a Chiefs fan. And the defense is getting completely gassed by the Chargers. So that's a worrisome point. That's a worrisome point too. It's early in the season. It's week 1, but it's looking like the Chargers are going to fight with the Chiefs for this division. They already won the first game, have the tiebreaker now. So watch out if you're a Chiefs fan because the Chargers are coming. Jim Harbaugh is coming. Justin Herbert's coming. And that Chargers team played a complete game in that game. They didn't run the ball that effectively, but they threw the ball all over the field, and that defense pretty much stifled everyone but Mahomes. Mahomes played really well, but that defense held them together, and that was the best defense in the league last year. So really high in the Chargers, really concerned about the Chiefs. So Aaron Rodgers playing my Jets, coming back to New York, and the Jets offense, Justin Fields, man, that was the best game I've ever seen him play as a pro. He was efficient. He was decisive with the ball. He knew what he wanted to do with the football. He was accurate. He ran when he had to. Every decision he made was the right decision. Every ball he threw was an accurate ball. And that was the best game I've ever seen Justin Fields play. If he could play like that, even like just 70% of that, maybe the Jets found a quarterback. I'm not even going to go there because I was just hating on Justin Fields in the offseason. He doesn't see the field great. He saw the field great in that game. And the Steelers, who were supposed to be this top defense, adding Jalen Ramsey and adding Darius Slay, got torched by Justin Fields, man. So if I'm a Jets fan, I'm really excited. Now, they got torched on defense, too. Aaron Rodgers coming in the building, and he looked like he was moving pretty well for a 41-year-old. I mean, not like he used to, but still moving okay. And the Steelers had some great moments on offense. If Rodgers throwing 4 touchdowns, still a little bit of dink and dunk, but he was making plays down the field now, too. That was a clinic. That was an absolute clinic. And I kind of thought a little differently about the Steelers now. For the Steelers, if you could play like that on offense and get it together a little bit on defense, maybe be an average defense, let 15 points, you could make the playoffs in the AFC. I think the Steelers could be a playoff team if Rodgers plays like that. They need to add a little bit more of a running game. Maybe they go out, they get a running back via trade. Maybe they go get Breece Hall, who looked rejuvenated and great for the Jets. But you could definitely be a playoff team in an AFC that kind of looks a little bit unknown right now. The top looks known. Buffalo, Baltimore, probably going to be Kansas City again. The Chargers look good. But once you start to get into like the Jaguars and the Texans and stuff like that, it's a little bit wonky. So for the Steelers, definitely could be a playoff team. Definitely could go 9-8, 10-7. It's what you do in the playoffs now. But I am sure Mike Tomlin will, defensive guy, is going to shore up that defense. And Aaron Rodgers, if he could play like that, just be a distributor. Don't try to do too much. Just get the ball out, make some plays when you had to, which he did. He played really well. I think the numbers were a little bit a lot like last season. I think the numbers were a little better than he actually played, like 4 touchdowns. He wasn't excellent, but he was good. He was really good. The Jets, too. The Dolphins are a shit show. The Patriots, everyone zigged and I zagged. And I was like, you know what? I still think Drake May has a lot of developing to do. And they look like shit. The Jets have an opportunity to come in second place in this division. I don't think they're a playoff team, but that AFC East sucks. And the Jets could win 7 games, 6-7 games, maybe 8. So the Jets' offense looked great. I'm not going to get too over-exaggerate with the Jets' offense because Justin Fields, for most of his careers, looked like shit as a quarterback and hasn't seen the field well enough. But the defense kind of sucked. But Aaron Glenn, defensive head coach, I think he's going to right that ship a little bit. It was just kind of a crazy game. A game that you thought was going to be low-scoring ended up being high-scoring. And it was a fun game to watch. So the 49ers and Seahawks, the Niners barely eke it out. Barely. And Brock Purdy, man. For Kyle Shanahan, who likes to distribute the football, get the ball out quick, be decisive, Brock Purdy is a real gunslinger, man. He takes risks, and some of them are stupid risks, almost like Brett Favre. That second interception, I don't know what he was looking at. I don't know what he was thinking. I don't know what he thought he was trying to do throwing that football, but it was one of the worst picks I've ever seen. Then the last touchdown throw to that tight end I never heard of was a terrible decision. I hear people saying that was great. He took a risk when he had to, made a play when he had to. He threw him open. That was a terrible throw. That was a terrible decision. He got lucky there. He got lucky, and the 49er offense, who, again, has become very Christian McCaffrey reliant, say he gets hurt again, say he has a bad game, they might struggle. Ricky Pearsall looked great. George Kittle looked excellent until he got hurt. Now he's hurt again. But Pearsall looks like he might be developing into a number 1 receiver. But with Brock Purdy, is also very Christian McCaffrey reliant. You see him throwing a lot of passes out of the backfield, McCaffrey having a lot of big runs. And if you don't have that element in the offense, I worry about this offense. And I worry about Christian McCaffrey's long-term health. He's not going to play 17 games, 16, 15. He'll be lucky if he plays 13 with the way he's been. That's just the track history of it. He might be healthy now, but his track record shows he misses games. So can Purdy stay afloat with him missing games? I don't know. He takes too many risks for an offense that doesn't have the talent it used to. Jawan Jennings also hurt. So, they're kind of thin now. The defense looked good with Salah back, but they're kind of thin offensively. And if it wasn't for Sam Darnold being Sam Darnold again, fumbling on the last drive, they might lose that game. And he almost threw a third pick, which was very lucky, and somehow caught by a tight end I never heard of. People saying he played impressively. I thought he played really poorly. I was actually a little worried coming out of that game. I'm a Brock Purdy supporter. But he just seems like, I like Brock Purdy being a gunslinger, but man, he must drive Kyle Shanahan crazy because Kyle Shanahan hates that. And when Brock Purdy first became a starter for Kyle Shanahan, he was decisive. He would get the ball out quick. He was more of a field general, game manager than what he's become now. He's really starting to take a lot of risks, and it's going to bite him in the ass because he doesn't have the talent he used to on offense. So eventually shit might hit the fan this season for him if he keeps doing that. So Kyle has to reel that in really quickly before this gets out of hand. But they win, and the Seahawks were a little disappointing offensively, but they have the drive to win the game, and Darnold fumble being Darnold, so we'll see how that goes. But I thought Brock Purdy got really lucky in that game. So I picked all 16 games. I went 10-6. So not bad. I almost went 11-6 until the Vikings last second beat the Bears. So that's how that went. So I'm going to pick the top games for next week. So let's start with Eagles at Chiefs. Eagles at Chiefs. Eagles are actually the favorites on the road. I'm going to go Eagles here. Chiefs don't have enough juice on offense. I think the Eagles bounce back defensively. And the Chiefs defense I'm a little concerned about, especially the pass defense. I think A.J. Brown, after having one target last week, they're going to look to get him involved. I think he's going to have a big, big game. So I'm going to take the Eagles here. Thursday Night Football, Commanders at Packers. That's a tough one. And don't be surprised if Commanders-Packers is the NFC Championship game. I'm saying it now. Two quarterbacks on the rise, two rosters on the rise. Here I'm going to pick Packers, though. I think the Packers might be the best team in the NFL right now. I'm not kidding. I think being home again, all the momentum going towards Green Bay, Jordan Love having a stellar game. He plays like that. Both of these quarterbacks, too. I just want to say this, too. Both of these quarterbacks are going to be in the MVP race this season. Already off to good starts, but if Jordan Love plays like that, he's going to be the MVP if he keeps playing like that. So I'm going to go Packers here. Slight edge to the Packers. Love the Commanders too. Honestly, love both of these teams. These are both top sixes teams to me. But I'm going to go Packers here with all the momentum getting Micah Parsons, how the offense looked. They just dominated Detroit. I think the Packers are going to go on a little win streak here. So give me the Packers. The Bears at the Lions. If the Bears won that game against Minnesota, I would have felt a little differently about this. I mean, like, okay, Chicago might steal this one on the road. Lions kind of being a little deflated. But the Lions are going to be pissed after that week 1 loss. Completely pissed. Dan Campbell's going to have them fighting their ass off. And Chicago, a little worried about that offense now. And like I said, Detroit has good corners. They have Terrion Arnold. They have DJ Reed. They have Brian Branch, the safety. So Caleb might struggle here. He probably will struggle here against those corners. And if Aiden Hutchinson could develop, get back his feet and legs back under him, I mean, this could be a rough game for Chicago for sure. So I'm going to go Detroit here. I don't trust Chicago. I trust Detroit to bounce back. They might have a coordinator problem, but their roster is still a top 3 roster in the league. We got Steelers at Seahawks. Well, actually, sorry. We have Seahawks at Steelers. This one's tough for me. You know, Steelers are home. This is going to be a close one, I think. I think this one actually will be low scoring, even though Pittsburgh scored a lot of points last week. I'm going to go Seattle with a slight edge here. I think Sam Darnold bounces back from last week. I think Rodgers comes a little bit more to the mean, maybe 2 touchdown passes instead of 4 touchdown passes. I think it's a low-scoring game. Kenneth Walker bounces back. Maybe he has a touchdown, 50 yards rushing. And I think Seattle wins a low-scoring game on the road. The weather probably won't be great being in Pittsburgh. Give me Seattle there. Not too confident about that, but I'll take Seattle. Sunday Night Football, Falcons at Vikings. Michael Penix versus J.J. McCarthy. If people remember, going into the draft, I said Michael Penix was a better quarterback than J.J. McCarthy. The Vikings probably have a slightly better roster than the Falcons, but the Falcons' roster is no joke, especially those offensive pieces. I'm going to go Falcons here. I still think Michael Penix is a better quarterback than J.J. McCarthy. I think it's going to show here. Falcons just losing against the Bucs. Unlucky. Bad kick by Koo. They very well could be 1-0 as well. I'm going to go with the Falcons here. I think they might have turned a leaf offensively. And Michael Penix, I think, is a better quarterback than J.J. McCarthy. I could be wrong in the outcome on how both their careers play out, but right now I think Michael Penix is way more polished than J.J., and I think Penix and that Falcons offense is going to come out and win this game. It's going to be tough against Brian Flores, but Raheem Morris is also a defensive coach, so I'm going to go Falcons. I might be wrong. I was wrong about the Vikings last week, but I'm going to go Falcons here. 2 Monday Night Football games. We have Bucs at Texans and Chargers at Raiders. I'm going to pick both of them. So Bucs at Texans, I'm going to go Bucs here. I'll be worried if I'm a Texans fan. Only 9 points last week. 9 points. Not a single touchdown. And Ibuka for the Bucs, Emeka Ibuka, already starting to look like a stud for Baker Mayfield. So Bucs also struggled offensively last week. I think they bounced back here. Give me Bucs. If I'm a Texans fan starting 0-2, I'm definitely worried at that point. The other Monday Night Football game, Chargers at Raiders. Loved how the Raiders played in Week 1. Geno Smith throwing for 365 yards, but I think they come back more to the mean here. Chargers look great. And the Raiders defense, secondary, how are they going to stop the Chargers pass game after what I saw last week from them? So give me the Chargers. I think they develop more of a ground game in this game too. Marion Hampton finally gets it going. Give me Chargers over Raiders in a close one. So my picks for the week: Eagles at Chiefs, I'll take Eagles. Commanders at Packers, I'll take Packers. Bears at Lions, I'll take Lions. Seahawks at Steelers, I'll take Seahawks. Falcons at Vikings, I'll take Falcons. Bucks at Texans, I'll take Bucks. And Chargers at Raiders, I'll take Chargers. Thanks, guys. Week 1 in the books. I'll see you for week 2 reaction next week in my week 3 picks. Another week of Hold My Helmet football. Another week of NFL football. It's great to be back, baby. Take care. See you next week.